In this video, we are going to look at the Lamba kingdom. You may call it a Lamba kingdom, or you may call it the Lamba empire. Whichever the situation you call it, it fits any description. Because when you look at how big this kingdom is, it is so big that you can't imagine how vast the land is, which comprises the Lambaland. Because in Zambia, the Lambaland goes up to Mumbwa. There are Lamba villages in Mumbwa, in Central Province. And also, it goes also up to Mukoshi. Yeah, Mukoshi. There are Lamba villages in Mukoshi. That's the boundary between the Lalas and the Lambas. And then from there, it comes to Ndola. Okay? And then from Mumbwa again, it goes to Solwezi. Solwezi is the boundary between the Kaondes and the Lambas. And then from Solwezi, it enters the Democratic Republic of Congo. Just the way it enters the Democratic Republic of Congo in Ndola. From Ndola, it stretches up to Likasi. You see, there is a mine town in DRC, Katanga, southern Katanga, which is called Likasi, where Chief Nshindaika is a chief there. He's a Lamba chief. And then from there, it stretches up to the end of Katanga. Okay? And then it proceeds into Lualaba province, the northern Lualaba province. It captures the Lualaba capital city, Kolwezi. It's a mining town, Kolwezi. It's also in the Lambaland. It falls under Chief Kaponda. Chief Kaponda's kingdom starts from Kipushi up to Kolwezi. And then from there, it comes to Solwezi. So you can see how vast this land is and very rich in mineral wealth. Getting back to the story, this kingdom was established between 1587 up to 1889. That's when the Lamba kingdom was established, according to what Professor of Linguistics, Professor Dr. Clement M. Dock, PhD, indicated in his book entitled The Lamba People of Northern Rhodesia. So what had happened was there was a woman, very young lady, whose name was Chembo Kasako Chimbala, who was the youngest wife of the great King Mwantiamv. She was not happy with the polygamous marriage. She had a son with the king. His name was Chembo. So by being not satisfied, the story says she escaped. But we don't know the situation. But it says she escaped. She ran away from there with her son. And she got a good number of her relatives who were Lubas because she was Luba. And then they started off their journey from the Luba-Lunda kingdom, which was situated in the Upemba depression, deep down in that depression, because that depression, according to archaeological discoveries, it indicates that it has been in existence for a very long time. Say 4th, 5th century, the Upemba depression was already inhabited by the people. So they traveled up to around Kipushi, where they took a rest. I don't know how long they rested there. And they proceeded up to the place which is called Kashivakabena Mbushi. It is in Copper Belt province, near the town of Luancha in Mpongwe district. That's where this lake is. It's a jewel of the Lambaland. And they were the first Bantus to come across this piece of well-decorated pool or lake. So they settled there, and that's where the Lamba kingdom started. And then the kingdom started to grow from late 1500. By 1600, it was already established. Now it will grow northernward, southernward, easternward, all directions. You see, this other side, it went up to the Lala kingdom. The other side, it went to the Lenje kingdom. The other side, it joined the Kaonde. And a little bit, the Wush is there. And then it enters the Democratic Republic of Congo. And according to Professor Dock in his book, he highlighted the point to say Lambas were miners. Lubas were miners. Even Lambas were miners. If we go to Bwana Mkubwa, there are sites there that indicates that where the extraction of ore there in Bwana Mkubwa, and also in Kansanshi near Solwezi, there was also a place where extraction of ore was done. And then when that ore was extracted, it was grinded into powder, which is concentrate, and then transported from these two places to Mufulira, where the smelting was taking place. And then after smelting, they made copper cathodes, and those cathodes were on sale to the neighboring tribes. The most prominent person it talked about was Mwata Kazembe. He was a very good customer to those products, because Lambas used to sell those things like copper cathodes and ivory to Mwata Kazembe's chiefdom through the middleman. This is also confirmed by a Portuguese explorer who came to Africa in the middle 1700, and he also passed through Lambaland. He witnessed all those activities, and when he returned to Portugal on the 21st September 1798, he documented the Lamba activities on the mining, production of copper, and the trading of copper and other valuable things to other tribes and other neighboring tribes. That is confirmed in history. That was the first place where Lambas were mentioned in the recorded history. And then chiefdoms started to be formed. And what happened was there was a man, his name was Chipimpi, who came from DRC, came to settle among the Lambas. The year was not clearly shown, but according to the events that happened, it could have been late 1600, but before 1700. If 1700, probably it could have been early 1700. He was himself and his wife, his children, and also he had a sister, and also the sister had children. So it was a big family which moved. Now when they moved to Lambaland, they had carried seeds for field cultivation, because Lambas, from the time they migrated up to that time when Chipimpi came, they just used to feed on wild foods. They never used to cultivate or do anything. So Chipimpi was the one who introduced agriculture, and a lot of tribes, neighboring tribes, they learned field cultivation from the Lambas. So when Chipimpi was doing that, Lambas liked him so much, and then they said, let's make him a king, and then he became the first Lamba king. He ruled for some time, then he was assassinated by his son Kabunda, and who took over the kingship from his father. And he started mistreating his father's relatives, and history says a group number of them had drowned into the lake, threw themselves into the lake, committing suicide, and they died like that. But there was a certain lady who escaped, and she became the ancestress of the Abenambushi clan. And then the kingdom continued, and from that time, when Chipimpi died, Kabunda took over. After Kabunda, he was succeeded by his son and nephew, because Kabunda had a son in his nephew, because there was a demarcation of governance structure in Lambaland to say only male children can inherit the throne, can be governors, can become rulers, and women should produce people who should be rulers. So if Kabunda had to be succeeded, was supposed to be succeeded by his nephew. So he was too ambitious. That's how he impregnated his sister, and then he had a child called Mwensenkanda. So when Kabunda died, Mwensenkanda succeeded him. Ruled. When Mwensenkanda died, he was succeeded now by his nephew, Chirosha. Chirosha ruled. He died. He was succeeded by Nkumine, who was in Kanawan. Nkumine ruled. After that, he was again succeeded by his nephew, Nkulungo. Now, at this time, there was a lady who had children. He was the mother to Nkulungo, and he had a daughter, Lunda, and he had another son, Mwilie. What had happened was Lunda was married to a man from the honey guide clan. His name was Kariabune. this Karyabune committed a very big offense in Lambaland, which was a capital offense. He killed a person from the Hare clan, which is the governance clan. And then, you know, the penalty was going to be very harsh. So what Lunda did, he ran away to Nkombo. Nkombo chiefdom is now in the DRC. That's where Lunda ran. And then when he arrived, her intention with her husband was to proceed, to go further. So Nkombo had to contact Mushiri. Mushiri sent a message to beseech her sister not to go outside the Lambaland, that she should remain in the Lambaland. So Bunda remained in Nkombo's area, and then they shared the areas of governance. But Lunda became so prominent and she was very respected by the people. Even Nkombo became submissive to her. So now the Lamba kingdom now was divided by two. There was Ilamba lya Busenga, which is now the Lamba kingdom, which is in Zambia that now, and then Ilamba lya Chinkumba, which is the Lambaland, which is in DRC. Okay. So now in DRC, when Lunda died, he was succeeded by his son, who was Chisumpa I. From Chisumpa I came another child, who was Chisumpa II. From Chisumpa II, he was succeeded by his nephew Nselenge. Even today, when you go to Congo, you find the chiefdom of Nselenge there. It's still there up to now. Now coming to this other Lambaland in Zambia, Muhiri, when he succeeded his brother, he ruled. After that, he was succeeded by his nephew, who was in Kanatu. And when Kanatu ruled, when he died, he was succeeded by Kavalu or Kalanchiri Mukila. These two names are his name. Now this man gave himself a title. He says, my title is Mushiri. So a lot of people do make a mistake thinking Mushiri is a name. Mushiri is not a name, it's a title. It's a title. So the highest ruler in the Lambaland, whom we can call, who is equivalent, probably you can say a king or an emperor, because Lambaland is too big, his title is Mushiri. Okay, so he gave himself that title, Mushiri. After he ruled, and he was succeeded again by his nephew who became Mushiri number 2, and the other Mushiris followed up to the present time. And then other kingdom was also established in Lambaland. There came the Bulima kingdom, which had 8 chiefs, starting from Kalunkumia, Malembeka, Lesa, Nduveni, Machia, Fungulwe, Lumpuma, Muinuna. All these chiefdoms form the Bulima kingdom. Now the Bulima kingdom is too big because it reaches even the central province. You can go as far as Mumbwa. You find the people there who speak Lamba. Okay? We can go to Mukushi, you find people who speak Lamba. All that part became the Bulima kingdom, and partly it was a Lamba kingdom. So we can say Lamba, it should be an empire, because an empire is a composition of different kingdoms. So we can say in Lambaland there are about 4 kingdoms. There is Lamba lya Busenga, which is the Zambian Lambaland, which Nkana is a group chief. Ilamba lya Chinkumba, DRC Nselenge is a group chief. The Seba kingdom, which starts from Mushindamo. If you go to Mushindamo, northwestern province, we have got 4 chiefs there. Musaka, Chikola, Karilele, and Mlonga. These are Seba chiefs. They fall under Kaponda, who is in the DRC. So the Seba kingdom starts from Mushindamo. It enters DRC, Kipushi. It borders with Ilamba lya Busenga. It stretches up to Kolwezi. Okay. And then the rest of the southern Katanga is Ilamba lya Chinkumba, under Nselenge, and then in Nkana. All these group chiefs, they were under Mushiri. Mushiri was paramount. He was bigger than these other chiefs. That was the hierarchy of the Lamba kingdom. Mushiri's village was the biggest in the whole Lambaland. And people were plenty in Mushiri's kingdom. You can easily lose someone if you are not careful, because everyone was in motion. And it is a place where one can go and enjoy food. Now the coming in of the colonial masters, they started to milk Mushiri's powers, bring Mushiri's powers down, and then they came to recognize him as a senior chief. But to all Lambas, Mushiri to them is the most highest ruler in the Lambaland, both in Zambia and the Democratic Republic of the Congo in DRC, Katanga. So the Lambaland in both countries is highly urbanized. When you go to Congo, you find the Lambaland is highly urbanized. All the mines that are in Congo are in Lambaland. You come to Zambia, all the mines are in Lambaland. Some different tribes came to work in Lambaland. That has greatly affected the Lamba tradition and culture. Although the Lambas are trying hard to maintain their culture and tradition, but the urbanization has greatly affected their way of life, their tradition, their culture, to the larger extent, even the language. So it's up to each and every one of us who are Lambas who would want to promote their language, to make that they are speaking the language so that it doesn't completely go into an extinction. This is the first video which we have looked at the Lamba Kingdom. We just talked about few things, but there will be another videos that will come and we'll get into depth to talk about many aspects, because the Lamba history is just too big. There are a lot of material. You can find a lot of history from different areas where you can go and make research. The book, The Lambas of Northern Rhodesia, it gives an excellent history of the Lambas. The Lambaland magazine, which was published in England, circulated in England, circulated in South Africa and Northern Rhodesia, started its circulation in 1905 up to 1957, contains a lot of information about Lambas. Okay, that's another source. And many other materials, mostly written by Professor Dr. Clement M. Dock, PhD. There is a lot of written materials. So I'll be gathering information from those sources and then post the videos so that people can know who Lambas are. I've done a lot of writing. Now I'm going to recording so that people can benefit. Thank you so very much for your attention. You can like my video, you can share it. You are most welcome.